What's scarier, the monster outside your door or the one inside your mind? Welcome to Fearapy Sessions, horror from our perspective. We're your hosts, Pam and Domonique, two Black women therapists who live and breathe horror. And every week, we'll dive into the creepiest corners of film and culture through the lens of psychology, identity, and lived experience. From psychological thrillers to haunted houses, from the horror of not being believed to the monsters of the mind. No fear goes unanalyzed. Welcome.
Welcome, everybody.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
This is our third episode. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't seen our first two episodes, please go back and do so. Today, we are going to be talking about one of my faves, the zombies. And
Zombies.
so the focus is going to be the history because you need to know where the zombie influence comes from. Then we're going to give a very brief review on 28 Days Later, which is there are split opinions on 28 Days Later. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to wrap it up with zombie movies we think you should watch. Okay. Yeah. But before we get started.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, people. This one is important because 28 Days Later is a more recent movie. Not 28 Days Later. 28 years later.
Years. Big difference, yeah.
Yeah, it is a more recent movie. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and pause, go watch it, and then come back. But the other movies that we're going to talk about, again, these are some old films. Some of these films are older than us. So if you haven't seen them yet, can you really call yourself a horror fan?
Period.
Can you?
You got some homework to do. Yeah.
Yes, you got some homework to do.
We'll give the homework towards the end, some movies you should definitely catch up on. Because I'll be honest, I've been hooked on zombies since Thriller. I was probably like 4 when I finally saw it, 3 or 4. My mom sat me down in front of the TV, and I've been hooked ever since. So
listen, anybody asks me what my favorite movie is, I'm not going to give away the real favorite just yet, but I always give the caveat. I'm like, are we counting Thriller as a movie? I mean, because it's long enough, right? Yeah. Like if we're counting Thriller as a movie, Thriller, favorite movie. But if not, it's my favorite song. Absolutely my favorite song and favorite music video of all time.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting because he does werewolves and zombies in that movie. So
yeah,
he's a beast for that. So let's talk a little bit about the history of zombies, because zombies is not something that's just been made up in the cinematic world. Zombies do come from the root of Haitian voodoo, but in that culture, zombies are more being controlled by an individual, right? And so this is once someone passes, they are revived and then controlled by someone who practices voodoo. So a movie was made in 1932 called White Zombie. And so this portrays that perfectly, the actual voodoo piece of it. I cannot say that I have gotten into that movie. 1932 cinematic was a little different. I have seen clips of it, but if anybody knows where to actually find this movie, let me know. I've only seen clips. Have you ever seen this one?
I've never seen it.
Yeah. So it says I've never seen it. It's documented as the first zombie movie. So then fast forward, the zombies that we know today, the standard, was emerged through the writings of George Romero. So if you don't know that name.
Love.
Yes, he's up there with Stephen King.
Yes.
So, and of course, Night of the Living Dead. 1968, black and white version. Yes, they remake it in 1990, I want to say.
It was Todd. Yep. So it has been remade, but the original 1968, they consider it the birth of the modern zombie. And it was, George Romero really, he did his big one with Night of the Living Dead, and then all the subsequent movies he did after that were just incredible.
100%.
One of the most interesting things is they did it on such a small budget.
They did.
Right. And it seems big budget to me, but they did it on such a small budget. And
Mm-hmm.
it was the breakout role for Dwayne Jones, who was the black male lead in the movie, which was revolutionary in 1968.
Yeah.
And that's probably why this is on my list of one of my top 5 movies, was because of this role in the revolutionary role.
This is definitely a top movie for me too. And honestly, the scariest part of this movie for me was not the zombies. It was seeing a black man in 1968 slap a white woman. I was like, oh my gosh. I was scared for that. So that was different. Okay.
My heart just started racing right now because I'm remembering that scene.
Yeah.
And I do remember seeing it and going,
Like, forget the zombies.
listen, like folks were burning down towns for less.
For less. And I'm
So,
talking, he smacked her cold. And
yes,
she went night night. Okay.
yes,
Like,
yes.
so
My goodness. Yeah.
yes, but the intro to Night of the Living Dead is iconic. The whole Barbara, they're coming to get you, and he's joking like
Yeah.
this old guy is coming to just
Hmm.
pass by, not realizing it's a zombie. So that sat in my brain as a kid. So every
Yeah.
time I went to a graveyard or past the graveyard, I thought of this. So this, I would say he's like the godfather of zombie
Hmm.
with this, and so.
Hmm.
So there's 3 types of zombies. Now,
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead zombie, if you're going to drop me in a zombie universe, I'm going to choose to go to Night of the Living Dead.
Hmm.
These are the undead zombies. These are the slow ones, 2
Yes.
miles per hour. They not busting a
As you would
brain.
imagine a zombie would be.
Yeah, these
Like,
zombies are coming out of the grave.
yeah,
They are coming.
you're not really working. Your insides and the motor skills are not fine.
Yes. So in similar types of zombie like this, the undead are like Day of the Dead,
Hmm.
Return of the Living Dead. These are the slow moving zombies, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's type 1. Type 2 are the virus zombies. These ones are a little different.
They are different.
They're not dead. That's the part. That's the part about it. Like what are your thoughts? Do you consider them dead, or from your understanding are they just sick?
Because it's the virus, I think they're just sick,
Okay.
right? I mean, I think they're
That's what I
gone.
think.
Like they're absolutely gone. There's nothing redeeming about any of what they're experiencing. Like I don't believe there's a
They are
cure.
not
Like
themselves.
they are not themselves. Like it is very much a virus that has taken over, and they are still alive
Mm-hmm.
because you don't see them die.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there isn't a
Snap, instant.
yeah, there isn't that death. There is this, they get infected, they change.
Yeah, and I would say examples of these are, as we'll talk about, 28 days, 28 years later. Those are
Hmm.
the rage virus. World War Z. Like, yo,
Yeah.
just end it for me with World War Z. I don't even
They
like
were
if
so fast.
they were like ants, like an ant colony,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah. In Zombieland, would Zombieland be the virus? Because they're pretty fast.
they were. Zombieland was hilarious.
I loved it.
I love them.
I love Zombieland, okay? But they were like, I consider some of the fast ones are like the virus. They
Yes.
fresh.
I
They
think
fresh.
I think that the difference between um the undead and the infected, like I said, like the infected aren't quite dead yet. Like there was no death. There was a change. And
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned this in the last episode. Like there's just this change of the DNA. Like they're
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a biological change within them that turns them into something else. Like they're not
Mm-hmm.
living for sure.
It's kind of like the rabies virus, right?
Yeah, they're
That
not like
changes you.
alive, but it changes you in a way that, like, okay, it makes you hungry for flesh
Yes.
and it makes you fast, real fast
Now, on the return of the
and
Living
strong
Dead,
and smart.
actually the zombies talked on the return of the Living
Yeah,
Dead.
yeah.
And so one part that, and people sleep on that one, okay? That one is pretty good. It's the
Mhm.
80s, it's classic 80s. But the
It was
one where
so
they actually asked like, what is it? And she was the zombie was like, the
yeah.
pain. And
Hmm.
so eating brains makes the pain of being dead go away. I thought
Yeah.
that was deep. Like, because you are rotten. I mean,
Rotting.
so imagine
Yes.
being awake while you're rotting. So
Yeah.
eating brains was like for them to relieve it. It was like aspirin,
Yeah.
like to the
And it's
dead.
yeah, the brain, and then for them it's probably like they eat other brains to keep their brain going because the brain is the only thing that is helping the rest of them do what they're doing. Yeah.
And on that one, you could not kill them. That's when
No.
I read that. I already was hooked on zombies, but that one was like, oh, so what happens? Like, so you can't kill them. You can chop them up and they still move, which is why I love Zombieland, because it continued it. And then why I love The Walking Dead, because it's like, what's next? Like, do you just blow the town up or do you continue?
I mean, you do what you got to do. But you know what I've thought about recently, though? Thinking about the fact that what am I thinking about? The idea of, brains, like and that being the thing, right? But how often do you see them actually bite the head?
Yeah, you don't see it since the 80s.
Yeah, you see them bite different parts of the body. And it's like, okay, is the brain still important now?
Yeah, it seems like they completely dismissed that in the 80s. Like now they won't skin, they won't blood, right? But in the 80s, it was all brain. Yeah. And I mentioned Walking Dead. So Walking Dead kind of brings me to what I consider the third type of zombie. Typically, if you look it up, you only see two types, the undead and virus. And we talked a little about this before, but in the Walking Dead, they introduce the notion that everyone's infected. And so if you die, you're going to come back as a zombie. So if you go to sleep peacefully with the hubby and he turns into a zombie in the middle of the night, it's a wrap. It's over for everybody.
Do you remember? I'm trying to remember why everyone ended up infected. Am I like having a total brain fart right now?
So this is literally season 1, final episode type status from The Walking Dead, when they went to the CDC, told the person who, before they died from the CDC, told him everyone's infected. They didn't explain why or how.
I didn't think so. And I'm like, did we ever learn about why everybody?
No. Yeah, never. Okay. Maybe. Well, I think they are doing that now. So this is a spoiler for people if you haven't watched the 100 spinoffs of Walking Dead. I think they are talking about that now.
Okay. And people don't feel bad because I'm a little behind on
the
most recent Walking Dead.
Listen, it's like 12 seasons.
It is.
And then there's like 6 different spinoffs.
There are so many spinoffs
I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So but they kind of introduced that. I believe there are different movies that are kind of taking that same infected notion, which most of them do. If you get bit by an undead, you become infected. You don't change instantly like the virus.
No, and we talked about that in the last episode too, where back then you had some time to do what was necessary. So if you got bit on the ankle, they chopping your leg off at the knee, right? If you got bit on they're chopping some part of your body off to try to stop the spread, because it was a slow spread, apparently. And like you said, you had your time to say goodbye. They might be pointing a gun at your head while they're saying goodbye. But you had time to say goodbye. Now, you don't have time.
It's instant. When it's a virus, it's instant. And in The Walking Dead, whenever I would see someone get bit on like the chest or the back, I'm like, dang,
done.
We can't even chop off your arm. It's a wrap. Done. You need your chest.
And I had the moments where I was like, could they just quickly cut out that piece of? No, it's done. Like, they're done.
Because I want to say it was like maybe 3 or 4 main characters that lost limbs. Herschel, I think Chicken George. You remember his quick time, Chicken George. I think they cut his leg off, but he still got infected, I think. And so there was a couple of people who throughout the seasons they did make it with one limb for a while, you know. So those are the 3 types: undead, virus, and infected. And so we want to move into. Do you have something?
I want to go back to, because we cannot have this conversation without talking about Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to talk about how in Dawn of the Dead, first of all, the fact that malls came up was hilarious to me, right? And it was one of the funny scenes was the zombies riding the escalator. Do you remember that? And it was just like a mix of horror and absurdity, and it made things a little uneasy. And like if you think about the remake, the most recent one, where they're out there cutting the grass and pumping gas,
they're doing the tasks that they remember.
They're doing the things, and that's why I think, and this about bringing it back. That's why I think that they're not, when they got infected, they weren't completely dead because they're still continuing on with what they're doing. They're not mindless. They're not singularly focused on brains. Like they're living like they were living before. Sorry, I wanted to bring that up because I was like sitting there
100%.
thinking about that movie.
I
And
wonder if
then
it's muscle memory though.
yeah, it probably is. Is it must remember when wait, is that Dawn of the Dead? Which one am I thinking? Land of the Dead. Is that the one where the guy where the zombie walked through the water and then came about?
Land of the Dead is when he walks through the water, but
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
but the Dawn and Day of the Dead is when they are doing the task.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't getting them mixed up.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so and it's they I love the fact that they evolve because when creatures stay
Hmm.
on this earth long enough, they're going to evolve some way
Absolutely.
or another. And that I think that's a perfect bridge to like us going into the review for like 28 years later. And so I'm sure if you are a horror movie fan, you have seen some type of debate back and forth about somebody absolutely loves it and somebody absolutely hates it. And so luckily you get to be a part of a podcast where there are two people that are that way right now. So I like it. So Dominic, you were a little opposite of it.
Oh my goodness. I hated this movie, y'all. Like, okay, let me start off by saying I did not like 28 Days Later.
Okay.
I have never in my life, and listen, money is important to everybody. One thing I don't like to do is waste money, right?
Hmm.
I walked out of that movie.
The
I
the
walked out of
actual original one.
the original one. Walked out. Walked out. I was like, what is this nonsense? What is this? And I walked out. I still have not finished it.
Yeah.
I
And
still haven't
I
finished it.
think
Y'all give me the encouragement to finish it, and I will. But I did go watch 28 Years Later because Pam said,
yes,
I
but you
must.
got to. And
I
the thing, I
must.
think you have to watch the 28 Days, and not so much the second one. I think that was a different producer. It was the same producer for the first one and this third one. But at least 28 Days and 28 Years you have to watch together.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of cultural differences because this is like a British movie versus our American culture. So some things are a little weird, and so I think that plays into a big part of why people are kind of like. So
Mm-hmm.
so I'll give a quick summary.
Yep. Yep.
So 28 years later is literally like 3 decades after the original film. So we're thinking 28 days happened late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about culture back then. I don't know about y'all, but that was like high school years for me. So think about what was going on during that
Yep.
time. These people 28 years later, that's all they knew. So imagine life stopping 28 years ago for you. Fast forward, the only infected place is actually the UK. So the rest of the world is moving forward. These individuals are stopped in time. They have no communication. Not
Mm-hmm.
only did they stop in time, they have started to go backwards in time. And so they're going to those primitive type, practices because they don't have anything. They don't have the things that we would normally have in our daily lives, even starting in the late 90s, early 2000s. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where it really starts. I think the beginning started really well. The beginning started similar to the beginning of 28 Days Later with a lot of action.
Yeah.
It was, boom, the infected came immediately.
I will give you that the beginning of the movie. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
might be on to something.
Yeah. And I will tell you, I do have critiques for the movie too. So it's not all flowers on my side. So they do, we got some critiques. But my thing, I think, tell me, let's start with some of your critiques so we can maybe even explain to people who may have similar thoughts about it, about the movie.
Okay, so there were parts that just felt absurd,
Okay.
right? Like I'm gonna try to stop laughing, y'all, because I watched this movie and I was just like, no, this can't be real life. Like, is this, am I really watching this? I know I'm not watching. Anyway, so the low and slow eating worms I actually thought that was good, right?
Hmm.
Because I was like, they had to evolve. Like, if they didn't have, I imagined before it kind of expanded, I was like, okay, so this is an area where there's no one living
Yeah.
and they've got to survive somehow. I had assumed until I saw the deer, I was like, okay, they're just eating whatever they can eat, right? And so the low and slow, the ones that are eating the worms off the ground, and they get up, but they're not quite fast. And then you had what did they call the fast ones? I can't
The
remember.
alphas or
Not
the
the alphas, the others. Oh yeah, so there's an alpha,
mm-hmm.
and then the alpha
The
is,
alpha, the alpha.
I know I'm supposed to be critiquing,
Yeah,
right? But the moment that you see this man fully naked,
the elephant in the room.
and I was like, did they really just give
Evolution.
this zombie? First of all, he's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's
And
in
it's
so many ways. I'm talking about physically just a tall, big man,
yeah. So
but also like,
let's talk about the ones you talked about so far on a developmental
sorry.
level. Okay, let's come back to the alpha. But let's go to the low and slow ones. I
Yeah.
look at those because if these are virus zombies,
Hmm.
did they die? Are they dead? Right? Or
Hmm.
are they people who have been living this whole time?
I wonder if the low and slow are the original.
Okay, and they're dying out. Maybe
Mhm,
that's what
mhm.
I'm thinking
Yep,
too. They're
and that
bloated.
yep, and the ones that are more active and faster and more engaged, I think that they're probably the more recent ones, like the ones that got decided to go over to
Hmm.
try to, like, hunt and get things. Because I wonder if it originally started with the people who were not infected and that were healthy going over to get resources, because I don't know if we saw resources on the island. So we
Mm-hmm.
didn't see, other than the farm animals, the standard farm animals,
Are you talking on the island, the safe island?
the safe island.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and just to clear up that for the viewer, so the safe island is away from the infected. And so that was
yes,
brilliant. And they
yep.
only can cross to get to the infected land when
It's
the
connected by a
tide is
causeway.
low.
Mm,
So when the tide is high, you cannot get to this island. So, and it sounds like they, Spike, who was the character, the little boy who was a
yeah,
new actor, he did a great job, I think, as a new
hmm.
actor.
He got on my nerves.
He was bad. He reminded me of Carl a little bit on The Walking
Yes,
Dead seasons
yes.
1 through 4. I
Oh
didn't
my
like Carl.
gosh. Listen, so going back to my critique, one of the biggest critiques that I had, I said, why did the dad not listen to them? They told you he was too young.
Yeah,
They told
12
you
was
he was
much
too
too
young.
young. Yeah,
12 was much too young. His mom is not well. Like, why would you take him over there until you knew for sure that he should have been placed in stressful situations
yeah,
before he took. And I get it, like you learn on the job sometimes, but that's not the type of job you learn on. And so that was, and in my mind, I'm not even gonna lie, I was like,
mhm.
I'd have, I'd have left him
Yeah,
so fast, because what are you doing? Not even upset with the him not shooting them, right?
yeah,
Because that's just fear. Like he's afraid. It was the paralysis, almost like the questioning and not doing what you're like, I'm telling you to come on, like you need to move your feet, and it wasn't happening. I was just like, this, okay.
yeah. Yeah, and I think he was trying to get his son prepared because in reality, his mom was, back
Yeah.
sick, and his dad knew eventually the mom wasn't going to make it. So he was trying to rush his growth, his
Mhm.
son's
Mhm.
growth. He was trying to
Mhm.
make him become a young man much
Yeah.
quicker than he was ready.
Much
And in
quicker.
reality, it was like two separate people both times he left. The first time his dad was trying to have this masculine thing
Yeah.
with him. The second time it was so nurturing with mom.
It was.
Right.
It
And
was.
so back to the development piece though, did everybody was shocked later on when we saw a pregnant zombie, but there was a child zombie too.
There was. So, okay, we were talking about talking. Did you hear that? There was a scene where they were over there and I heard someone say, "Hey, come on." And I turned around, I said, "Are they talking?"
Because
But
why not?
nowhere else in the movie were they talking.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, what were we just hearing? Was it a flashback in one of their minds, or are they talking, and why were they only talking in that moment?
Hmm.
Like, why
Hmm.
were they only talking in that moment? And it was when they first encountered the first set of low and slow.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
that was when I heard them talking. And so I expected there to be some kind of communication or vocalization, but it never
Yeah.
happened again.
And the thing is, they may have their own ways of communicating, right?
Hmm.
Because we see this child, much like the
Hmm.
survivors on the island, there was many survivors who never knew normal life.
Right.
So they're young, like under 20, and this has been going on for 3 decades at this point, right?
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, these virus infected zombies, some of them would have the ability to talk. And because they're not dead, they will also have the ability to reproduce. And
Right.
so
And I think that another one of the things that's kind of outlandish to me
mhm,
is the fact that the pregnant zombie gave birth to an uninfected child. And I'm kind of like, okay, was this person pregnant when they went over to the island and then got infected? Or are we talking about an infected zombie who got pregnant? I'm assuming by Samson,
mhm,
because he was very much
he was the
upset
fertile
when
zombie.
when he found her dead. He was mad. I was like, oh, that's his woman.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that that was his child, but how?
So
Like, if
in
your insides are rotted, I get being pregnant, like getting pregnant. Don't doubt. I'm all for it. Like, yes, zombies getting pregnant, but how is that child uninfected?
So the thing is, her insides wouldn't be rotted because she's not dead. That's the key to the virus zombies, because they are
Okay.
still human. They are just like they are infected with the rage virus, just like rabies, right? So
Yes,
they are
that's right.
still fertile. And then the reason why, and scientifically, a woman can have a non-infected baby. This happens when people have hepatitis, when people have
Hmm.
HIV. Your
Hmm.
child, if caught in time, your child can be not infected. So because there was someone there to help her to have the baby,
Yeah.
it stopped
To
that
be
baby
able
from getting infected.
I think in my mind, where my hang up is the infect. Because if you remember, was it the blood got on
The
whose
eye in
face?
the eye.
Yeah, it was like, don't blink, don't blink, don't blink, right? So I'm thinking that they're like the insides, there's something wrong. And
Hmm.
that's what I'm like, if you're infected and you're rotting from the inside, or there's some kind of something that is just changing who you are, how would the placenta
Because
not be? Even if she got infected after getting pregnant,
yes,
like, first of all, the woman's body is a miracle in and of itself and
amazing, right? Yes,
amazing, right?
yes.
So, I'll give it that, but I'm still like, how did that baby
I
come
think if she the mom wouldn't have been there to help her
out?
have
Mhm.
the baby, and so
Mhm.
she took the baby like as soon as it was born, cut the
Yeah.
umbilical cord.
Yeah.
And same with patients who have different diseases,
Yeah.
right? If you breastfeed that baby, then the
Mhm.
baby's gonna probably get infected. If you
Mhm.
don't, tend to the baby, it's gonna get infected. But
Mhm.
in this situation, the placenta is like his own little world,
Yeah.
right? And so the baby was okay. Now I think the baby gonna have some type of superpowers in the next.
I think so.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
something about the baby, which
Yeah.
is that's how 28 weeks later was too.
Yeah. But I'm still there. I'm like, okay, so the baby was in this uterus
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that was infected.
Yeah.
And then you got the placenta that's feeding the baby. Like,
Mm-hmm.
y'all, I'm gonna be stuck on this for a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be
And I
stuck on
I
it.
get
Like,
sometimes yeah.
but there's also, what movie was it? Wasn't The Walking Dead, was it? There was a movie where there was
She
a
got bit
zombie
before
baby
she got
birth.
yeah, little ass kicker. In Walking Dead, her mom got did she get bit before she had her?
The infected baby?
Yeah. Was she no Rick's child. She didn't
No, no,
get
no. I'm talking about, there was a movie. Somebody, listen, y'all, we appreciate audience participation,
yes,
and
if we
sometimes we forget things, and I'm forgetting which movie it was where they gave birth to an infected baby.
oh in the mall. Is it Day of the
Yes.
Dead?
Okay, okay, okay,
Day of the
okay. Yes,
Dead.
yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes. I
Yes.
was like, there was a movie with an infected baby. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Omar
Yeah.
Epps.
Yeah.
Was it Omar in it in the movie? It was
Was
his
it his,
child.
was it his girlfriend?
It was yeah, his girlfriend got bit and they
Yeah.
hid it, and then
Yeah.
she gave birth and the baby was a zombie. So
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
happened in quite a few movies. So yeah, so there's some. I'd love to hear other people's opinion about the not infected baby. So
Hmm.
yes, and so that's one part of it. But what other elements of it? Because I love the interaction. I love the storyline behind Spike, the little boy, right? And I
Yeah.
love that part because zombie movies are not always just about zombies. It's about the
No.
drama, right? It's
Yeah.
about the storytelling part.
And most zombie movies are this like apocalyptic or post apocalyptic thing a lot of times, and there's a message. There's typically a message that is connected to them, and there's clearly a message in this one. Just thinking about his mom and the difference, like you said, the difference between him being on the island the first time and then when he went back and got his mom. I said, did that little shit just set a fire?
Yeah,
He's
that
about
was
to
too
get
much.
everybody killed.
He needed his butt whooped for that.
He did. Like, he's about to get everybody killed because, and I get it, the love for your mother. But him sneaking her out, I was like, okay, all right. So
Yeah.
you are showing that, I guess that experience did something, because I think it probably gave him the courage to go do what he did. But seeing that development and their connection, and then the scene in was it a church, the rundown church, where he fell asleep? And I was yelling the whole time. I'm like, how could y'all fall asleep? Like, why would you not find somewhere up higher? But then I do remember the ceiling caving in, but still, like, you're reachable, right?
Yeah.
And I thought he was dreaming at first. And then
Mama
when you
was
find out
whooping
mama,
butts.
like, her moments of clarity, like, the
Hmm.
instinct kicked in, and she absolutely, absolutely did. I
She
did like,
protected her baby.
yep, I enjoyed like that part of the movie between him, his mom, and the doctor. I did
Yes.
enjoy that part.
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I needed a disclaimer going into this movie because as someone who has lost many relatives to cancer, I was in
Mhm.
there boohooing like a baby.
My goodness. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness. Like, when he found out, because I had wondered, I was like, oh, is she, I just assumed that there was just a mental health issue, and it kind
Yeah.
of progressed over time. And then when he said that it was cancer, and the little boy's like, well, can't you fix her? And he's like, no. And she's like, how much time? And he's like, soon. I did not think what was going to happen was going
Yeah.
to happen. I do, however, appreciate what the doctor did in sedating him,
Yeah.
because he was about to do something else stupid.
Hmm. And I think it's really interesting that this movie had that piece in it because I think there was just a story about in Britain, in the UK, they just legalized assistance with people who want to end their life because of terminal illnesses, because that
Hmm.
is a lot of suffering. And that
Hmm.
is, she was in the final stages of cancer because she started having a little bit of dementia because it was brain cancer. And so
Yeah.
that's what she was having, those moments of clarity, and she would go back into time. She thought she was a girl. She thought that her
Yeah.
son was her dad. Like, she was going in and out. So if your mind is there, how bad is your body suffering? And
Yeah.
so that was so humane what they
Hmm.
did.
Yeah. And him and the son at Spike asking, like, is it gonna hurt? And she's like, I've already been hurting.
Yeah,
Like,
it
it
already
already
hurts.
hurts.
That was
But
deep.
I didn't see that coming. I
Yeah.
really did
Yeah.
not see the death coming. Like, I guess I thought that they were going to let her live out her time, and that she only had a few more, like, days
Yeah.
left, and they were going to stay there until, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It was impossible. And we want to keep, people around forever, but the doctor knew, he really did
Yeah.
know best. And I think that's what his mom wanted, because she probably
Mhm.
felt like a burden. And
Mhm.
so that took a left turn for me. So that alone I thought was good. And not to mention too, I don't think we mentioned this yet, but the cinematography in the film,
Mhm.
I like that. I like the way they videoed a lot of the chase scenes, a lot of
Mhm.
those sentimental scenes. I think they did it with like iPhone 15, so that's like,
Mhm.
that was really good. So I do want to give credit to that as one of the positives from the movie.
Yeah.
I think I love when I see movies that change the way we do
Yeah.
movies for the future. So I do want to give that piece too. Okay, so let's talk about some other critiques of some not so good one. I agree with you with the momentum of the
Mhm.
movie. There
Mhm.
was a long low period. I
Mhm.
will say that. So it went from boom, like stuff going on, to like drop.
Mhm.
And so I agree with people who are saying that they could have maybe filled in some of the gaps a little more, but with them being on the island with no zombies, that
Yeah.
made it a little, I guess, hard to have those cinematic type
Yeah.
moments. So, but I was that pretty much one of those critiques for you as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It felt slow at
Hmm.
times. It felt slower than it needed to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. They could definitely speed it up. And so I'm thinking too, another piece that I'm hearing people say that was a big critique for them was the ending. So what did you
Yeah.
think about the Jimmies?
So it was a nice way to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what, so we had seen, and my husband had mentioned, he was like, that guy has Jimmy carved on him. And I did not put two and two together in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they popped up, I looked, I said, is that the guy from the beginning of the movie? I said,
Yes.
I think that's the little boy. And then when he introduced himself as Jimmy, I'm like, makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. And they are setting this up to be another film that comes after this. And I think the Jimmys are crazy.
Yeah, I think they're very cultish. They
Yeah.
are, and so they all they knew were Teletubbies. Keep it in mind, right? So they grew
Yes.
up on the Teletubbies, and that was their
Yes.
the
Yeah, you
last thing they
reminded me at the
remember.
beginning with the
Yeah.
I was like, why are we watching the Teletubbies? Yep.
So their movements and their
Mm-hmm.
mannerisms were very Teletubby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another cultural reference that I think a lot of like Americans didn't understand was the way he was dressed. There is a
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy in Britain in the UK during that time period. Jimmy Savile, I think was his name. He was like a DJ. He was like big time in the
Yeah.
UK. Later on in life, way after they would have realized it. So when they
Mm-hmm.
knew of Jimmy, he was big stuff. Everybody loved Jimmy. He was that dude. So that's
Yeah.
his
The
wardrobe was
tracksuits.
very the tracksuit. He ended up getting in trouble for sexual assault. You know, the Me Too
Yeah.
movement hit him early,
Him
right?
hard.
But they didn't know that because they were quarantined by that time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so they was, praising this popularity type thing. Probably saw it when they were kids. So Teletubby
Mm-hmm.
mixed with this person who's really like a predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad formula for cope activity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
And
so
that's the vibes they're giving.
yeah, and the fact that his dad had this when he passed, because his dad was the pastor at the beginning who
Yeah.
died. He gave him the chain. He went out on this religious trauma type thing, like we talked about
Yes.
in
Yep.
previous episodes.
Yep.
Mix up, put all that in one pot.
Recipe for disaster.
Recipe for disaster. And so I think, just thinking of that, a lot of people like, what was the point of them? But no, they just want to introduce them.
And his cross was upside down.
It was upside down. Yeah.
Kind of calling back to some of the original religious horror movies where
Hmm.
the idea of the demon is that the
Yeah.
cross is upside down.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that they, brought it full circle back because I was like, oh, what happened to Jimmy? And so
At
that was
first, I
really
thought
good.
Jimmy was the dad because wasn't his name Jamie?
I don't know. No, the little boy.
No, the dad, the Spike's dad, wasn't his name Jamie, or was
I
that
think
mom's?
I think it was. You know what? I think they utilized Jimmy a bit much because the guy in the first one name is Jimmy as well.
Hmm. I
And
wonder what
so
that's about.
what is that about? And so I feel like things don't happen in movies without a reason. It has to be a
Yeah,
purpose for that, right? So because
yeah.
he's supposed to be on the next Bone Temple
Hmm.
segment of it, and
Hmm.
so the original Jimmy. And so I'm really interested in seeing which Jimmy is gonna. Because at first I was thinking it could have been him, even though there is a zombie that looks just like him in the actual movie. I just want to point that out. I thought it was him for a
Which
second.
one?
The one from the original from part one, there is a zombie at one
Yeah.
point they used it on all the previews that looked kind of similar to the original actor.
Okay.
And so I
Okay.
thought that was so
I missed that.
yeah, so I'll make sure I get a picture to kind of put an
Okay.
image in there, but it looked like him, but it's not him. That he's going to
Okay.
show up in the next one. And so
Okay.
yeah, and I do love the fact that they made sure we were clear and understood through the soldier who they came and helped
Hmm.
them that they were
Hmm.
stuck in time. Everybody else was good, so we over here
Yeah.
living life. They're quarantined, so I
Hmm.
thought that was good. So
I
yes.
yeah, and I do what I do appreciate about this movie is the fact that they call it the rage virus.
Hmm.
And it's not just like a virus. It
Yeah,
is the rage virus. It is connected to like the symbolism of it, right? Like they're
yeah,
not, like you said, they're not dead. They are infected and it feels like they're us at our worst,
yes.
right? There's rage, there's fear, there's the loss of humanity. There there's just so much anger and disconnect in that, in my mind, knowing that is like the people who are the infected are the ones who have allowed it to take over them in a
Hmm.
way, and that they've been quarantined to this place because it's like if y'all are gonna be like this,
Yeah, I'm
y'all
just
y'all could be
wondering
like this here.
why don't they go rescue the other people on the island? That's interesting to me.
Well, I don't think that actually is a really good question. And I wonder if it's because they're connected by that
Mhm.
causeway. Because we
Oh,
know
that's
that
true. They came close.
international armies are patrolling the waters.
Yeah.
And so they really are trying to keep this mindset and this way of being confined. And I wonder if they think that there is even this thin, inconsistent, unreliable connection between this area that
It's a
is
possibility.
infected, that they're not that far removed
Yeah.
from being infected themselves. And so they're kind of keeping an eye on them
Yeah, that makes
while
sense.
also like policing this area over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So yeah, so it's like just in case, because
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s zombie movies, the solution was always, when you think about like the crazies,
Yeah.
the Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead, they nuked the whole town.
Yeah.
That's how they got rid of zombies.
Yeah.
But with this one, they decided to just quarantine, and so I think
Mm-hmm.
that is definitely interesting. And so yeah, so let's, as we wrap up this review,
Mm-hmm.
any final thoughts?
I will take back what I said about it being
Trash.
terrible. I said trash. I did say trash. You know, okay,
And
it's still, in my opinion, it's still trash, but it's not like you can't throw it away. We'll call it recycling.
okay,
Okay.
okay. So
It's
out of five
recycling.
stars, what do you
It's
give it out of five?
I'm gonna give it, so I'm gonna compare it to some others. I'll give it like a 3.
Okay. Okay.
Compared to 28 days later, yeah. Like
Okay.
like I
Okay.
said, I walked out at 28 days later.
And so we don't think too differently about it. I would do 3.5 to a 4.
Mhm.
Because it's not perfect. It has some areas. I love creativity and things that are different. So
Yeah.
I like the different aspect of it. So yes. So definitely leave your thoughts in the comments about this
Mhm.
review and see if did we miss any component, and we
Mhm.
will gladly chat with you in the comments about it.
And remember, these are just our opinions.
Yes. Yeah.
These are just
Yes.
how we feel, and everybody is entitled to feel
Hmm.
differently
Yeah.
about certain things.
Yeah.
And I'm prepared for the be like, I can't believe you didn't look. I tried, y'all. Okay, I tried.
Yes, you did. Yes,
I
but
tried,
let's say you have to go back and watch 28 days later and 28 weeks later. Yes, yes.
and not 28 weeks, the Sandra Bullock movie, or 28 days.
No, 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 no. And before we wrap up, I do want to give the viewers some additional movies to watch. We've already
Yes.
mentioned a nice amount. Night of the Living Dead should be the first on everyone's list, the
Mm-hmm.
original and the remake.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. So what else? And so Night of the Living Dead, 28 days later. I think we mentioned Dawn of the Dead.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
Land of the Dead.
Land of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, if you haven't
Shaun
seen
of
it.
the Dead. Yes,
I love it.
it's a comedy, but I love it.
It is so good. And that's another British one, right? Like
Yes.
it's, yep. Yep.
So that definitely Train to Busan.
Mm-hmm.
I love Train to Busan. That is I put that in like my top 5 zombie movies at this point
Mm-hmm.
because it's so different. I love it. I love Asian foreign horror in general. They
Yes.
do it so different and right,
Do it so well.
to the point
Yep.
that we want to remake everything they do, but we'll talk about that
Everything.
later.
Yep. Yep.
We'll talk about that later. But Zombieland
Yep.
changed the game.
It's a
Walking Dead. You what were you saying about zombie?
and there's part 2 also.
Yes, and it's
Yep.
just as good. It is really
It
good.
really is.
And then Return of the Living Dead, I love it. They have about 3 parts to that too. It's similar to Night of the Living Dead, but just more campy.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think, did we leave anything off?
No, but I will throw in my as you said, you gotta watch the bad ones too. Y'all, if y'all have not seen Zombiever, I'm not gonna let this one go. Because it's just so ridiculous. It is
Yes.
absolutely the most ridiculous movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It really is. And then I think the other one, is it Zombies? I think that one, this is like a Z on the S. I mean on
Mm-hmm.
the end.
Mm-hmm.
Um
E Nation is another one.
Oh, I love Z
I love
Nation.
that was
Oh
another
my
baby
gosh. I
zombie.
can't believe we didn't talk about Z
Yes,
Nation.
yes.
I love Z Nation.
And on some newer ones is
Mhm.
Little Monsters with Lupita. That
Oh
one is
yeah.
cute. That is a very. I watched that with my daughter, and it was okay. So it's a
Mhm.
family one. And The Girl with All the Gifts is another virus one. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that one.
Yes,
Mm-mm.
put that on your list. The Girl with All the Gifts is it just talks about trying to train the zombies
Mhm.
type of thing, and it's a really good one. So yeah, so hopefully everybody will leave comments, tell us what we missed out, because there's probably 150 other movies that we missed. So let's make sure
Yes.
everybody gets their zombie list in order. Any final thoughts or anything else as we wrap up?
Protect your neck.
Protect
Uh,
your neck and
you
your
know,
brain.
in your brain, because zombies are, I got one that lives with me now who will randomly just be like, Mommy, I'm a zombie brains. I'm like, little girl, if only you knew, you don't really know what zombies are yet. So yes, protect your neck, protect your brain, take care of yourselves. Thank you again for being with us this week. We're really excited about this. And if you can tell, we're really passionate about talking about these movies, because I know for me, this is my relaxation. I
Yes.
know some people are like,
So
how could you
peaceful.
watch? And I'm like, it's an escape.
It's an escape. Yeah.
It's an escape. But yeah, thank y'all again for being with us. We look forward to chatting with you in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. We'd love to hear any suggestions for new episodes or topics that we could focus on. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Yeah. So make sure you like and subscribe. Our next episode is going to be
Yes,
about vampires.
yes,
So if you're a
yes,
vampire lover, definitely join
yes.
us for the next episode.
And
Until
find us
then,
on social media.
yes, definitely.
Yes,
Please follow our group and our page on social media.
yes.
But until then, we'll
Bye,
talk to you later.
y'all.
Bye.